You don't need to know my name, only my story. I'm just a normal person in this insignificant speck of a world. Well, only in the eyes of many. I only know myself is strange in this judgmental existence. What is weird about me is I have an odd fetish. A fetish of the peculiar kind. It's my life's only desire to have them. All of them. The skinful texture excites me in so many ways possible. With the rigid feel at the end. Yes, it's hands. From a young age I had an extreme fascination with hands. I will do anything to get them. Now I do as I have several in my closet. From all the women that excited me, and I sought them till I got what I wanted. The body disposed of in a special way as they granted what I needed. Those precious hands, I'll do anything with them. Cook them, paint them, even pleasure myself with them. Like this one here I use to jack myself off. Ah, yes. That feels so good. Yes. I make it go up and down. This was a hooker's hand after all, as he's somewhere rotting in a river somewhere. Her hand feels so good though. Glad I never ate this one. If you want to know how I keep up this lifestyle, I'm a CEO at a local famous car dealership chain. I even have my own secretary, who has the most lovely hands. But my victims need to be separate from my work and my life, so I can slip away like a shadow. Her hands may be delicious, but I have to let that one go for now. Some of my chosen have been found. They call me the Hand Collector. Such a funny name, but a fact. Every hand must belong to me, one way or another. Speaking of my job, I have to get to work soon. But first, I'm having spaghetti tonight, with the meatballs being parts of a hand I just found last night. It's gonna be delightful. Time to get ready. I had a shower as I smelt like death. I would be after all, being surrounded by decapitated hands that, well, I had to put on my nicest suit and put all the unused hands into a safe area where no one would find them apart from me. But with cleaning with soap so they don't stink up the place. I have neighbours and I don't want their sheep gay eyes gazing upon me. Vile creatures who don't understand should be just thrown into a grave. I opened all my blinds as I keep them closed when I'm home and got in my car. There's a Jeep with plenty of room to store my precious things. I'm obviously not stupid enough to keep them there. They're all in the house. I jetted off to see what's happening at my work. I see many are out today, some with pretty hands. Very, very pretty. But I can't think about that now. I turned on the radio to silence my urges. There was news about me on there, my killings as they call it. People are fickle. To think, and there's apparently a detective who's working on my case, trying to catch me was talking.
Well, let me tell you something there, Skinny. This is the deranged killer that violently kills his victims before taking their hands, which is why he is nicknamed the Hand Collector. I will not let any more victims die, as I will tirelessly try to capture this manic individual if my name isn't Detective John Pepper.
I laughed at the thought he could catch me. He thinks he may be looking for a creepy individual, but someone who's just a normal person in society. But I'm not normal. Far, far from it. This fool is in the way of his head if he can think he can get me and catch me. I turned the radio off and headed for the dealership. I arrived. I had some more with tasty hands, but I needed to work. Can't think about that now. I entered the dealership and see some of the employees have already did some deals. I high-fived them and congratulated on their success. They deserve a raise, in my opinion. Gotta keep allies around wherever if you're in trouble. I went in the back to my office to see my daily reports and I was greeted by my beautiful secretary.
Sir, hope you're feeling well. We gotta go over these earnings and reports, and some cars have already been sold.
As she was talking, I noticed her amazing hands. They look delicious and rhyme so much like forbidden fruit which I cannot touch.
Hello, sir. Are you listening? We got calls coming in about selling us some cars and also customers waiting on call.
I snapped back and got on the job. As well as being my secretary and having beautiful hands, she also had a curvy figure. May have to ask her out some dinner sometime. May ask her out too, many times. If that was the case, there'd be nothing to hold me back. Or I could let her on my secret. There would be only two outcomes for her anyway. I finished my work and decided to head out for today. Before I did, there was a woman checking out one of the cars. I decided to sway her to buy it. She claims she is currently looking to buy it and is just saving at the moment. I gave her my number, but not for the car, to give her a pretty little gift in the future. She had some pretty hands. I headed out of work for the day and had to buy some soap and other items for my work. My work. So I got in my car and drove to the nearest U-Mart. The U-Mart was quite busy. It is still morning after all, and many souls all drove here for their useless items. Some have pretty hands too. With this much of a crowd, it may be hard to silence my urges. I can able to ignore it and enter the supermarket. It was even more busy in there. I felt like a speck in a field of specks. Anyway, I raced forward through the swamp of corpses. I went to the soap aisles and almost out, mainly due to cleaning my trophies. So I picked up a few bottles and placed them in my basket. Now I need some food. Then all of a sudden I had a weird anxiety catonic attack. I was stuck in place and couldn't move. My vision went red and heard voices all around me. Or were they in my head? I had these since I was a child. Is this the reason why I had a fascination with hands? Reason why I make chosen ones? And then stopped. Glad I was looking at clothes at the time. If it was in the middle of the store, I would be found out. After that weird moment I carried on shopping. I needed to get some sauce and spaghetti tonight. I cannot wait to eat the bits of those hands. Delicious hands. I continued shopping for other items that I needed. Some of the clothes have gotten dirty. Let's say that. So I went back there and got some new shirts and trousers. Well, I put some into my basket. I bumped into a female shopper.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't looking where I was going. I always fly around here and I should really watch myself sometimes. I could end up hurting someone. Hopefully that wasn't you.
I replied that he didn't hurt me. I was the one who wasn't looking and apologised.
I apologise too. I should really slow down when shopping. Also my anxieties act up when I'm in crowds of people, so that's why I tend to speed around. Anyway, I hope you're okay and stuff. I gotta go finish shopping. Bye!
As he walked off, I noticed he had some pretty hands. I had to scope her out whilst I continued my shopping.
What are you doing here?
If I can, of course, as we are going into different directions.
What are you doing?
The chosen always find their way back to me. I finally collected all what I needed, so I headed for the tills and went to that one had no queues. The tiller was also a woman. As she was placing the items in the bag, I was watching her hands go back and forth, back and forth, and forth, and back. I quickly looked up before she could answer for my card. I paid for my items and left the store. As I was leaving, I saw that female shopper from earlier. I decided to follow her as my car was also down that alleyway, or anyway, I followed her slowly to a far off toilet section outside. Nobody comes over here and it's not well kept. This is perfect for getting my precious stock. As she went in the toilet, I quickly followed her and locked the door.
Oh hey, it's you again. What are you doing in here? It's the woman's bathroom. Better get out or I'm calling... What are you...
Before she could respond any further, I grabbed her head and smashed it into the sink, and again, and again. Her head cracked and began to gust blood, and even more blood. But she was still alive, so I smashed her again, and again, till her head and face became unrecognisable. She was dead and there was blood everywhere, but I couldn't take her hands here, still evil about. I had to take her back home. Also glad I wasn't wearing a white shirt. She was definitely a squirter. There was some towels in the bathroom, so I wrapped her up in that and left. My car was only there, so I placed the body and stuffed it in the back. No one uses that bathroom, but when they do, they're gonna get a right shock. Imagine if I left my chosen. I drove back to my house to begin taking my precious hands. I used my garage so no one can take me taking the body out. Don't want that to happen. I got out my trusty little friend in the whole wide world, Mr. Cleaver. I usually take him with me, but I had to go to work and go shopping. I told Mr. Cleaver to say hi to my newest friend. She may have her head gone, but has tasty hands. I chopped off both hands and dumped the body into the freezer. I licked the hands up and down. These hands are absolutely amazing. I could use these as decorations if I wanted, but I don't get visitors, so it would be perfect. So I put them in the closet for later use. I had to sit down after that sweet rush. The rush of getting them hands. I had to come down while relaxing. You know what? I go to relax forever and let it all off at the club tonight. Who knows? I may even get more hands there. I want them all to fall like rain upon me. I drove through the lonely night as this town usually is at night. Well, lately it is and will be if I'm still around. I saw the nightclub as I was pulling up. I already feel the faint beat enter my body as I got closer. I pulled up and parked a little bit further. Looks like the club is going to be packed tonight. This will be a fulfilling way to get rid of adrenaline and maybe find even more chosen. So I enter. The club is beaming with such euphoria. Sounds are coursing throughout my body. Yes, this will let me go for a while. I dance with excitement, let myself go in the moment. Many blank faces around me doing the same. Some are pretty hands. Hands who raise them for me to see. This made me fill my empty hole with false joy. For a while, of course. Still, it was a sweet moment of pleasure. So I danced, and I danced again into the night. This fragrant night. I danced for a while before someone was waving at me. It looked like a woman, and they had some nice hands for the taking. I followed them out back, and before they could talk, I grabbed them by the throat. But what I noticed isn't a woman, but a man who looks like they're transitioning. I broke their neck instantly as the hands are stained, ruined, disgusting hands. I don't want any hands from the likes of them, filthy, rotten hands. I threw the body in a dumpster in anger and went back in the club to have a drink and cool down. I entered the club again and felt a little happier. Their sounds were still beaming throughout, but needed a strong drink. I ordered for a strong martini. I usually drink their blood sometimes from the hands at home. but needed more of a kick. I drank a few more martinis before a woman started to talk to me.
Hi, babe. I saw you were drinking alone and found you pretty cute. I'm alone here too tonight as my friends were busy. But still, we're here to unload and get busy all night long. So what's your name, sweetie?
I said my name. Again, it's not important to this story. I said she looked pretty, but what's even more prettier was her hands. They looked so smooth and silky. So I asked about back for reasons.
Sure, babe. Why did I say you were pretty cute and even came over here? I hope the rest of you is good though. I'm eager to find out, so shall we?
I went out back with her, the corpse from earlier safely hidden in the trash thankfully. She turned her back towards me and faced the wall and began to undress.
Hey, I have this huge ass you will be dying to see. Under all this tight leather. Want to see more?
While she was distracted trying to talk to me, I quickly ran up and smashed her head into the wall. Her head seemed soft as she was already dead, and blood began to come from her head. I also brought Mr. Cleaver with me too, so I can take her hands here and now. But I heard noise coming from the back door, so I took her body and ran to my car, which I can see from over there. There's no one about for all I can see, so I made my quick escape and drove. Those hands are delicious. Can't wait to try them. I arrived back home and through the garage, and quickly got out the body. Whoever that was at the door left me in a rush, but nothing I was in before. I took the female to my slab for those hands to come off. I cut them with precise precision and threw the body into the freezer with the shopper from earlier, and took the hands to the living room. I stroked them and then crossed my face and licked. They were so soft and smooth, yes. Another pair of beautiful hands added to my collection. I put them away neatly in my closet. It's getting full of hands, that closet. May need to get a few chests if I ever run out of room. That may be a thing I could do tomorrow, as it's already late and kinda tired from all that club nonsense. So I decided to hop to bed, but before that, I heard a knock at the door and someone saying, "Where's your delivery?" I just got back. I didn't order any pizza, and it's 1 AM and the pizza place would be closed. I was gonna have my spaghetti in bed as it would be splendid. So who ordered the pizza? Then that moment the door busted down and a legion of cops stormed my house. Pinned me down, and as others went looking around, then he entered. The detective that has been hunting me for so long. And he's junior detective as well.
Hey there, hand collector. You should have heard my warning on the radio this morning. I never break my promises, and I will catch those who break the law, especially those that hurt others. You may be famous in this town, but I have caught mob bosses before, and bank robbers in the city. I know. I now have finally caught you, but it wasn't without my JD here helping me.
Detective Bell here, hand collector. I knew you liked taking in the hands of only women, and that's why we sent an undercover cop to chat with you. Sadly, you killed her before we could nab you. However, it was well worth the sacrifice, because it led us straight to your house.
Sora, there's a cluster of hands here. There seems to be a handful.
I hope that wasn't intentional, Jim. But anyways, we have finally caught you, hand collector, and you are going to be judged for your sins. Take them away, boys.
I am in disgust. I was finally found out and my collection ruined. I probably should ignore that girl, but they're already onto me as it seemed. But only I can judge myself and no one else. These slaves have no free will. They cuffed me and led me away, never to be seen again, awaiting my fate. It felt like years, till I saw all these black soulless faces staring at me. You didn't need to know my name, only my story. Ah, finally I got this done. Finally, and don't worry, this isn't a JoJo reference. You know, it's a guy that collects hands, but, you know. Yes, this was meant to be out months ago, but so many voice actors coming and going, and some couldn't do it, so... Yeah, there we are. So let's start off with the cast, shall we? Let's start with, obviously, me. I've played the hand collector, a pizza delivery guy, which definitely isn't a reference to My Hero Academia. Well, probably is, you know. And the Irish cop laddie, all these hands. So, now let's get on to the actual cast, and so let's start with MrRuidiaz. Yes, he played Detective John Pepper. He wasn't the original choice, but he did well anyway. So if you want to follow him, his Twitter, YouTube, and his reaction channel is down below. So now, the shopper. Actually, no, the secretary first. That's TruthSleuth. He wasn't the original one either, but he did well as well. Her Twitter and YouTube is in down below too, and you should know her pretty well anyway. So he deals with without a crystal ball, who's a little nutty. Now onto the shopper, and this well, there was supposed to be 2 sex workers, but now there's 1. Also, this sex worker is pretty cool to talk with anyway, regardless. That's my witch, so I'll put her OnlyFans. I think she has Fansly as well. I'm not sure about that, but I'll check. And her Twitch, I think, down below. You know, I'm calling them out anyway, and give them some exposure. You know, what's they deserve anyway. They're really good. So now on to the next one, which is Dragon Pony, who wasn't the original choice either, but again, she did well, so I'll leave her. Don't think she's a sex worker, but I'll check that anyway. I'll leave it down below. But I'll leave her Twitch and Twitter, and also forgot to mention that's my witch's Twitter down below as well. But yeah, so now on to another YouTuber who played Gina Bell, and one I talk with quite regularly is True Crime Horror Stories as well. So yeah, I'll leave her YouTube and Twitter down below as well. She just has them anyway, I think. Yeah, so anyway. And that concludes, yes. This took a long time to happen, but I finally did it. Baby. Oh baby. But yeah, so, and also I don't know when the next one's coming, but the next one won't have any voice actors. It's for November, so it might be a shorter one, so yeah. But one after that is going to be a larger one than anything here. A larger one. So anyway, so yeah. Leave it then. So hope you enjoyed this. A lot of work putting this together. So wait for the next one. So if you enjoyed this episode or edition of Stories from the Dark Side, don't forget to smash the like button and stay spooky, boys. Toodle as